My name is Troy Dunmore, and I was incarcerated for 26 years and 7 months. There's a lot behind what made me me. My dad was in the military. I think a lot of my childhood I was angry just because every time I had a friend, I'm moving. One time we moved to a predominantly white area, brand new house, and all I heard was the N-word, the N-word, the N-word. So I'm scrapping, but then I'm getting in trouble. My friends were like-minded people, the misfits of the little neighborhood, using drugs and sneaking out. The first time I went to juvenile hall, I was already addicted to drugs. I was around 14 years old. I thought I was a piece of shit. It was like an open wound because I hated myself. I couldn't even look in the mirror. I think I hated myself pretty much all my life because I thought I was different. 1995, I went on a bench. I went and got a BB gun, a broken BB gun out of the closet. It was Round Table Pizza, and there was 6 people. I pointed a gun, I threatened their lives. I said, well, I'm not gonna hurt you, just go to the bathroom. Got the money out of the safe. I went and jumped the fence. I was convicted of 1 count of robbery, 5 counts of false imprisonment. I was sentenced 65 years to life. I know that I hurt those people emotionally, physically. I took any sense of safety, at their jobs away. My mother, she said, why did you do what you did? And then I got angry. I started digging. It was a lot of pain. I was never gonna stay clean until I addressed that hurt little boy, until I was able to find out why that little boy was hurt. So I've done self-help. The person they see today is not the person that I was. The beginning of me feeling better about me was college. I got a B, and that right there was like, it just lit a fire in me. Some of the programs that I participated in was Narcotics Anonymous, church, restorative justice. At San Quentin, right during the COVID, I get a letter from For the People, and it talked about the Prosecutor-Initiated Resentencing. The DA has an opportunity to look back at a person's commitment. Can the person articulate how he's changed? Can the person articulate, what led to that point in his life? I did everything they asked. I made a parole pack. I wrote letters. I got support letters. This was over about a year. And then one day, I got a letter from the Public Defender's Office of San Diego. She said that, yeah, they're gonna resent you to 17 years, credit time served. And then it was real. I was released on October 6, 2021. My dad, he was like, you're home. District Attorney, she gave me this chance to live. And I don't take it lightly. I do not take it lightly. And I see my mother one time. Man. My mom and dad, they died knowing that I was on the right path. This is my office right here. Today, I work as a substance abuse counselor in San Francisco. We kind of understand, that mindset of some of the younger people that are doing some of these things, so we can be utilized to kind of help. Everyone wants to know, how do we fix this? Well, there's people that's returning right now that can be part of the solution.
I think that Troy, I think he's ideal for working here and working in this field because of his journey. When you are able to just sit with someone and listen without no judgment, no condemnation, it's huge. Because this job is not for everyone. You gotta have tough skin, but you also have to have a soft heart.
I always sat back behind walls, watched this show called In Motion. It was on PBS, and he was kayaking. I go, man, I would want to do that one day. And when I got out there in that water, and oh man, that's it. It's a feeling of just the awesomeness of the ocean. There's so many people right now that's in these institutions, just older, that's been through the fire, changed their lives, that are just rotting away in prison, that can help.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Troy. What a wonderful movie. We're so glad you can join us.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your accomplishments.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Troy, for participating in that video and bearing so much of your life with us. So really appreciate that and appreciate you joining us today to continue that conversation. You touched upon this in the video, but can you share a little bit more about your upbringing? Specifically what may have led you to prison?
Yes, in the video I talked about we moved a lot, and we did. I moved, I think I counted when I was doing this process. Before I was 10, by the time I was 10 years old, we already moved 6 times. And that's not just in the city of San Diego, that's different states and whatever. So I had a hard time with friends. And then I was angry. I just blamed my mom and dad. Why you're the one that moving me? Because and then when we moved to this last place where I lived at, it was a new, brand new neighborhood, brand new. I mean, we were like some of the first people there, and it was different. And it was challenging for me because I didn't grow up with hate in my house. We grew up with, everyone's people. So when I hear these words that I heard on these movies from back in the day, I just fought. You call me that? Okay. So then I went through my earlier days doing, getting in trouble, just fighting. And then when I first experienced marijuana, that was my first drug, it made me like, I didn't really care. It's like, so I numbed. So I kept wanting that. And it just got out of control real quick. And I just committed crime after crime, this is juvenile till adult. And between 1985 and 1995, went to prison 6 times. I was in and out, in and out, in and out. I would get a job. I would be clean. I would get a job, and then get a little money in my pocket, get a car, and then be back in jail. And it was the same thing. So I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. And I committed the crime that 1995 that they talked about.
Yeah.
I don't blame drugs. I blame choices, my choices. However, I didn't know how to put everything together to figure it out. I didn't know how. I mean, there's so much involved in what created that person. I didn't know how to get out of there. So in one aspect, prison helped because I actually went to the programs. I actually started doing the program. And then I start meeting people, like-minded people. Like I said, I always try to, if I'm doing wrong, I want to hang with wrong people. If I'm trying to do right, then it just happens. You just naturally progress to those type of people who are
Right.
my friends now.
And I really appreciate that you talking about the choices that you made. And we really talk about this work from the perspective of ownership, telling individuals to be transparent about what they've done. And you did that in that video. So really set the stage for prosecutors who may be looking at your case to really understand that you're coming from a place of honesty to sort of build an understanding of who you were and where you are now. So you talked in that video, about what happened on that day in 1995. Can you kind of set the scene for like what led you to, what was going on in your life at that point in time that led you to that day?
Well, I think we shared it. I was only out, I just did a violation. I was out 42 days. And by that, I was 31 years old, and I pretty much figured out my life I'm done. I mean, because failure after failure after failure. So when I paroled, and that was probably the first time that I paroled that I just said, I don't even care anymore because I know what's going to eventually happen. I knew they had a 3-strike law, but I thought I was too slick to get caught. And I just got out day one, They dropped me off at Donovan State Prison right there, and I used day one. So I was able to stay out 42 days, and I just went on a binge. And this was just one of the things that I did. And the crime that I committed in 1995, it was just, I didn't care about anybody in that place, and I'm thankful that it was a BB gun, because who knows? Who knows what I could have did, because I wasn't in the right state of mind, because I didn't care. If I don't care about myself, I can't care about anybody else. And I didn't. And I took that BB gun, I threatened their lives. And the thing about my sentence was 65 years to life. That was like mercy. That's what they, because I was facing 150. So the 65 years to life was there. I took it as, okay, we're not, I don't know. I took it as, it's like, okay, this is what we're giving you as a blessing, because we're not going to give you the 150. But I looked at it as, I'm done. I'm through. 94 years old. My board date was 2057. And I just went to prison, and I said, well, I'm done, but I didn't want to die. So I just going to go to prison and do my time. I didn't go with the prison. I didn't ever think I was getting out, but I didn't want to give up, and just go that route and go, so I just went to prison just to do time. That's my thinking was at that 1995, because my mom's alive, my dad's alive, my family's alive. So I just will spend time with them on the phone and visits, and just do time. That's was my thinking.
And that's, knowing that your first parole eligibility date was 2057. Can you tell us about, what motivated you then to actually do the hard work in prison, knowing that there was a very real possibility you weren't going to be seeing outside of the prison gates at that point in time? And why was that time in prison different from all the other previous times?
One of the reasons was I was a little older, but it was because I know we don't have a lot of time. It was my mom. My mom, one day I called, I was a mama's boy. I called home a lot. And my mother used to get mad sometimes when she thought about why I was in there, because she knows the whole history. And one day she said, I want you to go write me a letter. I mean, why did you wind up in there? What happened to you? What? We didn't raise you like that, So I'm like, drugs. That was my go-to, drugs. That's all I said. I'm a drug addict. And she said, no, 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 no. It's something else. Go write me a letter. So I went and wrote a real quick surface letter and sent it to her. She sent it back. No, it's not enough. Dig, I want you to just take your time. Don't rush it. You hurry up and rush it back. And so faced with that, I said, okay. And then I started just really researching, like really going back before we moved. And that was the beginning. I just wanted to figure it out. And I wanted to tell her. So I wrote her a nice letter. I mean, a deep letter, not nice, a deep letter. And I guess it was good enough for her. So it was that. And then I think the motivation was my mother and father. Like, to me, it's like, just because I'm in prison doesn't mean that they can't get mad at me if I continue to do this stupid stuff. And I wanted to finally try to be the son that in prison, that they wanted me to be. I mean, that's the best I could do at that time. So I go, I'm not going to be in there and calling and writing them letters from the hole. And I did want to kind of find out, because I was confused. Like, wait a minute, I grew up with love. I grew up with, I never remember being hungry. I remember at 16, they bought me a car. So I was like, well, wait a minute. I know, because I have a lot of family. I know people that were a lot worse than me. I mean, financially, they never touched the jail cell. So why did I? So that was the question I had for myself. So that was the beginning of me searching to try to find out why. Just to find out. Wasn't going to do nothing with it, because I'm never getting out, other than to know. To know what it was. It's a bunch of little things, and then it just goes. So I do know now. I do know that I know what helps me stay clean, and I know what helps me stay on the right path. And it's the way I do it. I mean, with sponsors and going to meetings and just having a program. And I don't say that the way I do it is better. It's working. It's working. So.
Right. Parents have that ability to push us in ways that we don't even want to push ourselves, but they find that, and it's amazing that you had that support in your life. Can you talk about some of the programs that you participated in? You touched upon the college courses, but some of the other things that you took advantage of during your time at San Quentin.
Well, yes, it was before San Quentin when I started the program. So I would say Narcotics Anonymous, my spiritual program, church, Bible study, um, Hope for Lifers is another place that I learned. We talked about the inner child. So when I went in there, I was like, oh, wow, what is that? So that kind of helped me open up some things. And running the 1,000 Mile Club, they have what they call a 1,000 Mile Club. And a lot of people laugh at when I say this, but I said training for a marathon. You can't cheat. You got to have discipline. You got to do everything right just before to train. So there's no shortcuts, none. Either you're going to train and do it and get it right, or you're going to try to cheat or cheat yourself, and you're not going to finish. So I had to give up a lot of honey buns and that I eat now. All that stuff that I had to give up. I had to go to bed early. I had to do because I had other stuff going on. I had school, so I had to do all that. I had to be disciplined, and I think as I went through that process, and then I got rewarded at the end when I finished in 5th place. I thought about that. I thought about what I did to get to that point, and I kind of it's like lined up with what I was doing outside of running. It's like I'm trying to be disciplined. I'm trying to learn how to love people, love myself. So that was like I love that, and so it's those things, and just finding what works for me and just do it, and then reaching out support. For me, I isolate. I isolate, and that's a warning sign for me. So I had to learn to reach out to people. There was always help in my life, but I refused it. I refused it.
Right. And now I want to kind of talk about the time where you heard that you were getting released. Can you take us back to that moment when you got the news? And then after that, can you tell us, what it was like when you actually were released, when you were resentenced?
Oh yeah, yes. That was so surreal. They start because I didn't know how, if, what, why. I just knew that I didn't get denied yet. And it started August. I got the letter of 2020. Now, let me take it back. That's when everyone was dying at San Quentin from COVID. So that was when I got the letter. When some of my friends died, I just figured the world's over because we got COVID. So I was on something else. And then I get this letter for the people. I heard it for the people. I read about the law somewhere in the library, and I read it, and then I said, "Whoa!" And they made it. They were sure that, I mean, everything about the letter saying this is no guarantee about anything. So I knew that because they made it clear. So I said, "Okay," and I did what they asked me to do, and I was already starting because I was already doing self-help for me. So I had a lot of this information, a lot of this stuff already done, but I had to do some more. And I, that's when I had to call my family. So it was just, and a year went by and I didn't hear nothing. I'm like, wait a minute, man, did I get punked? Because now I know 40 people is just working. They're working for other people. But my head was like, man, man, this is some game because I don't hear nothing. My family's trying to call and people trying to call. And I got the letter from a friend of mine, Gary, who got the letter from 40 people. He had told me about how his process went. He got the letter right when I did, but he was a little bit before me. And he goes, "Yeah, you'll get a letter if they got you. You'll get a letter from the public defender." I got a letter from the public defender. I remember it was on a Friday, and it was Monday was a holiday, and they said call as soon as you can. So now I got to think about it all weekend. So when I called them, they said I talked to the public defender, and she said, "Yeah, they're going to send you to 17 years." Credit time served, but you have to do 2 years, stipulate 2 years parole. And the first thing that came out of my mind is about who's going to be the judge? And she told me the judge has sent you. I said, oh man, this is the same judge that told me when I went back for Romero decision, trying to get my 3 strikes taken out, that said she's not going to take any time off me because I'm a poster boy for the 3 strikes. That same judge is the judge that resentenced me. So I didn't think she was going to do it because the reputation was like, she's, tough. So that was that. And then I got it. And then when they resentenced me, it was quick because they have to get rid of you like in 5 days. But I had a plan. I had everything. I heard everything, everyone talking about reentry. I did have a solid reentry plan. I did have all that lined up. I'm thankful for that. And I still, use my support. But I was coming to a new city. I was coming up here. I'm from San Diego. So it was, I can't even really explain it when when I got a ride. Reentry picked me up, took me to the Dream Center in Oakland, and I cried, called my mom right from the parole office. Hey, they were like happy. That was probably, and then we planned on when we were going to see each other because I knew my mother had cancer. I didn't know it was as bad as it was, but then I called my dad. It was beautiful. And then now, okay, I'm out. What do? All that talk you've been doing, Troy, what you gonna do? And I just, luckily, thankfully, I just stuck to the plan. And it didn't work out right. Plan A didn't work out because I was supposed to have a job in Berkeley and it didn't work out. So then I didn't panic. I kind of panicked because I was thinking about, when you see a lot of homeless people and you're 59, 50, 57 years old and you're like, wow, I don't want to be homeless, and I know that it's expensive out here. So I was a little worried about the job part of it, but I didn't panic because I had support and everything worked out. Everything worked
Yeah.
out. Working out.
Yeah, and you've talked in the video about being a substance abuse counselor, which is great. Can you specifically talk about how the work that you're doing in helping others, how that was really important and a motivator to you getting that accreditation and doing that work?
Oh yes. Long before I got out, I always thought about as I start shifting my thinking about giving back because I grew up in a family that gives back. So I said, if I ever get out of prison, this is what I want to do. Just because I was already starting the process in San Quentin at ARC. I forgot to mention that. It's addiction recovery counseling. It's a group, about substance abuse, but then they pick people to be counselors. So kind of said, if I ever get out, this is what I want to do and give back. And then so I work in San Francisco, right in the heart of, as far as I'm concerned, in that city, the fentanyl and the tenderloin. So most of my patients they use fentanyl, heroin, meth, but most of them fentanyl. So I went into the work like, I'm gonna save the world, and it was a slap of reality. And I had to recalibrate, wow, this is really serious. I mean, it's more serious than I thought. And I engaged with my patients. I love them. What I mean by I love their people, they deserve a chance. And I don't do anything, they do it all. All I do is assist. And I've had successes. What I mean successes is 2 years working there, patients start and then they're still clean. They moved on. And then I've had death where I had to call the medical examiner because somebody's missing. And I didn't know I had to do that. You didn't tell me that was part of the job. And I've had to make those calls too and find out they're in the medical examiner. So that was kind of like the first time when I said, whoa, and it started getting to me. So, it's a job that I have to have self-care. And I also am a peer mentor. Another part, second job, is a peer mentor, and I help people formerly incarcerated when they come home. I assist them with providing resources for them, like housing or jobs or just talk. Just talk. Some people get out of prison, they can't use a phone. Like I couldn't use a phone. And the frustration is that right there. How do I use this phone? How do I make a doctor's appointment? So then that's when I come and call me. And a lot of times I just listen and and then try to get them through that next. And I laughed. So, what's so funny? I said, because I was just like you. And I still am with some of this technology, and I love that. I love just helping because I had help. And I want to say one more thing. I know we're up for time. I look at me as me being out here as an honor, as a blessing, and I don't just represent Troy Dunmore. I don't. I represent God, my family, but I also represent all the men in there because we used to sit back and every time something happened bad in California or when the news high profile, they always, well, not always, but sometimes they'll say, well, we need to toughen the laws. And we all go, wow. And so, and then they show people in prison, but it's like, those are two different things. This guy's 21, this guy's 50. So, but they seem like the media would say, well, don't let them out because they're doing that. So we always know that every time someone gets out and does bad, it's worse. And if I do good, it's not worse. I'm not saying I'm gonna help them, but it just makes it better for them, the ones that are doing the work. So I know I have a awesome, responsibility for them as well, because I got a lot of friends in there that don't get this, because of maybe their case or maybe the county, that they're from.
Right. You carry a lot with you, and I'm
Yes, I
sure
do.
that motivates all the work that you're
2-minute
doing
warning.
and your devotion to the work, and to helping other people out. So thank you for sharing that. Just as a last question, what would you say to prosecutors, who are implementing PIR, considering it? Like, what's your hope for what will motivate them, in making these resentencing decisions?
I would just say, they know their job. Just use all the tools. Like real quick, when I got sentenced, they used the tool of enhancements. Then they use the tool of you're a 3-striker. We can use that tool to give you 3 strikes. So they used the tools that they had to do what they did, and it was rightfully so. Well, there's tools. This is a tool too. So just utilize it. Whenever you see fit. Like research. That's part of it. I know you have to actually research someone. That takes money. That takes people that have to do it. But just utilize all the tools in your toolbox, because you have tools that can help, and people that may be able to help your community, because it's all about public safety. I believe so, because I've been a victim since I've been out. I've been, well, attempted robbed, so I understand that. I've been on the other end. So just utilize all the tools, please.